So, about COVID, about as clearly as I can identify, as clearly as I can say. Many of us already know, a lot of us are being fed false information and political motivated agendas instead of factual, physician-backed, accredited, honest information. You don't have physicians that are... A lot of what we've been told about COVID has been politically guided and motivated, and that's not... When you're dealing with health and viruses and flus and stuff, you don't want political people basically pushing the whole... Basically taking the whole... What's it called? That visual image, that image of like what this is. You don't want... See, the reason why I have such a problem with this is because Native Americans already knew this. The flu virus is not something to be avoided. It's something that comes from nature. It's something that comes from nature. It's devised by nature. And it is devised by nature as a means of mediation, as well as attunement and refinement when it comes to seeking balance in the world. Things in nature are generally separate from that guided intelligence, from guided consciousness. And that goes for any humans beings as well. And the only way that nature, especially in the past, had of basically calling thousands, millions of species back to center, back to a harmony of seeking either this material here or there, or going to this, being attracted to this location or that location, being attracted to these sorts of foods and not those, is because it's a balance that's needed. And what a flu virus does, what the flu does, it's minute. It changes your DNA. That's why there's a chemical marker which shows up once you catch the flu. It changes your DNA. You get that marker. That's a good thing. Nature has acted on your behalf. And to that, I would ask you, how many of you, since the beginning of COVID, have had the same diets, the same habits, the same personal preferences? And I would almost guarantee that almost at least 95% of you, it's completely changed for you. Your eating habits, what you like, what you don't like, where you've moved, the places you moved to. See, what they didn't tell you was, not only was COVID had a 99.5% recovery rate. Basically, almost nobody was going to die because of this. And the only reason people did is because they were not exposed to it to begin with. Or basically were fed so much fear, propaganda, media bullshit that it made so many people fearful for so long. Fed just misinformation and just not the complete story that people had no hope to gain to focus upon. It was just an unknown thing for so many of us for so long. Listening to our newscast stories, telling like this ungodly, unknown thing, and it's got all these symptoms and whatever, and like you're only telling one side of the story, you're only telling the deaths. They only told us of the deaths. They didn't tell us of the recovery rates. They didn't tell us that COVID was actually Sars. It was a virus that we already had caught. That many of us, especially in the US, we all have caught it. None of us should have been fearing this thing at all if we had done the proper research ourselves. If we had been told by guided physicians and doctors that actually cared about the people and not political uppity-wuppities that have no emotional investment in what your health is, and to the people's health, and to what your well-being is. When you only tell one side of things, the information is no longer accurate. It's no longer guided, and it's no longer true. People need to know the whole story. You should have been told This is the spread of the COVID. And this is how many people have recovered. And this is how many people have recovered. 99%, 99.5% it was. 99.7. Because you guys held this truth for so long, for not telling people about this. You newscasters probably killed more people than the virus itself. And you all have as newscasters, you all have a duty and responsibility to the public, to the people, to tell information as truthfully and hopefully as represented as possible that you can. Not one-sided like this, not for the sake of drama and for getting views, for publicity, for basically fame's sake. That's not integral. COVID was Sars. It was held onto by the Chinese as a means of basically biological warfare to hopefully... It was as a means of biological warfare, just as not... It wasn't a serious endeavor. It was not a serious endeavor. But the reason why it was so deadly was because those people had not really been exposed to SARS. And the thing about a flu virus is, once it takes its round, once it makes its rounds, it's supposed to no longer exist. It's done its job. It's done its work. It's affected all the people, all the animals that it's needed to. It's changed the DNA, enough of it, so that the people are no longer eating foods which are basically harming nature and basically taking from the environment unnecessarily. A lot of you guys, especially you living in the cities, are now eating foods which are a lot more sustainable for the agricultural processes that we're now using nowadays. The artificial fertilizers, the whatever, and all that. That's why a lot of your diets have changed, and mine especially and a lot of us has been seeking higher and higher quality foods. The Native Americans, as well as the indigenous, the Native Americans especially, the Cherokee, the Sukhoi, they knew this, that they did not fear the flu virus. And we didn't either up until like a few years ago, until the internet was made super popular. The flu was just a flu back then. It was just unknown. It was just, you got the flu? Oh, you got the flu. You're going to be feeling unwell. The reason you feel unwell is because your body takes energy for your body to rewrite DNA. And that draw of that energy, that pulling away from your systems, it makes you feel low. And that's all it does. It makes you feel mildly ill. And Tom Hanks, you piece of crap, you made it, God, and there's all these people. We need people who speak more calmly about these things, who don't hype things up for the sake of self-publicity. Tom Hanks, you had a very big public voice and image, and you misused that, my partner, my friend. You made your sickness sound like a much more big deal than it was. Your words were like, oh my God, this is just, oh Lord, Jesus Christ, I'm just going through a world of hurt right now. And everyone else is looking at you going like, dude, whoa, holy shit, now it's going to happen to us? And like, as doctors, as physicians, as shamans, as healers, as engineers, as physicians, as scientists, we have a duty and responsibility to tell the information as truthfully as possible. And the reason why a lot of you don't really know or understand about these things is because you're not feeling into them. You're listening to what other people are saying instead of basing your perceptions based on your own personal self-guided experience. What are you feeling about this? Not what you're hearing, not your fears, not what's going on in the social world. What does your body feel about this right now, this sickness, this illness, this whatever is inside you? What is the nature of this? What is the nature of going on inside here? Because science can't tell you that. Science can't put you under a microscope and analyze how everything moves about and how everything supports one another. Hell, science can't even tell what goes on in the function of a woman's womb. If science isn't properly telling you the proper composition of your nervous fluid, how can you trust that they're giving you the proper guidance of what they're telling you what a flu virus is? And so I'm just going to start laying truths out there and some common sense. A flu virus is only about a few microns thick. It can go between almost anywhere and anything. It can go between anywhere and anything. It can go through anything that it wants. It can go straight through your skin. Those little face masks that basically the political motivational agendas push for money, basically for the sake of money, for generating revenue in the country, didn't help worth a flip, because it's basically you have something that only filters out a few hundred microns. It has big gaping holes in the side. I mean, it's kind of the way our news made it sound was, even when I was living back in Lakeland and not here, our news made it sound like people were dying in the streets. And when I went outside, there was just a lot of calm people. I saw a lot of healthy people. I don't know about you guys, but out in the country, besides like the fear that the media was giving us of freaking us all out, everyone was okay. Everyone was okay. There was no one dying left and right because of this. I saw the results for myself. I mean, like, I know these people. I'll go out into my own community. The fatality rate was less than 1%, and it was just as a result of SARS. And the reason why... Shoot, I have to pause this. I gotta get some water. Once a flu virus is done, once it has finished its purpose, it dies. It's no longer supposed to exist. Nature takes it and calls it back. So when you take a living sample from its environment, from basically the call of nature, and you self-sustain it, you basically force it to live. You keep an embryo alive. All nature, all things in biology, all life is designed at a root fundamental base foundation level to survive. Nothing in nature wants to die, not even a bacteria or an amoeba. That's why it runs away from danger. That's why it fights to struggle to keep alive. The same thing with the flu virus. Even though it's basically its time, its course has been run out. If you try to keep it alive, it will sustain it. It will live. That's what biology does. And that's what the flu virus itself, that's what that flu is for. It's basically so that you don't push the resources of humanity into the ground. Because we're doing a lot of unmindful action. Once life is born, it has complete free choice and free will to do whatever it wants. That includes the insects, the animals, and the birds. They are guided by a force, by forces all around us, by angels, by intelligence, by a cosmic intelligence. There's a flow going on, a harmony. But there's also a lot of free choice and a lot of basically automation going on as far as our animals and insects are concerned, especially humans as well. A lot of us are not thinking of filling into what we're eating, what we're doing to our bodies, how foods make us feel, how emotions make us feel, how situations make us feel, how people make us feel. So when you take that flu from its active environment and you keep it alive, basically you have a little antenna receiver that's basically trying to listen, and it's listening for what it needs to do next. And so it's getting information from basically everything, from the fields of Earth, these gentle eddies and flows, these magnetic currents which exist and which permeate throughout everything. It's a gentle guided intelligence, and it's separated, it's out from nature. So they took it out from nature, and it's changing, and it's kind of listening to, and it's growing, it's changing. It doesn't have actual guidance yet. It's not being held in the body of insects and animals within nature itself. So it's on its own. So when it was finally released, it was basically trying to reorient, to restructure itself to the needs of biology, to what nature was now suddenly calling upon it. And to those Oriental people that it was released to, those Koreans, it was Chinese. Yeah, it was too much of an adjustment. Your body's trying to. It's too much of an adjustment. It's too much of a sudden shock. It's too much of a drain on your pull on your resources. And when your health is that low, when you're not taking care of your health, and you have that pull, and then you have that negative part of the mind of like no hope, of like uncertainty about the future, when you start poisoning your body with your thoughts, you have very little hope of living. Your body, mind, soul connection. If your mind is bad, your health goes to shit. If you find just reasons to be depressed or be fearful, your body will follow suit. It will start releasing hormones and chemistry to literally break you down. because that's what you are calling out of it. Your body listens and responds with chemistry, via chemistry. If you think you love, if you love this body, you generate healing and restorative compounds. And a flu virus to you is nothing more than a cold. It's nothing more than a common cold. That's all it was for me. I had just a bit low energy for maybe a couple days. Reoccurring symptoms of like low, the same thing, low mild illness, just feeling low energy. That's what they should have said. Your energy is going to feel a little bit low. So, people, doctors have a responsibility to approach all situations calmly as possible, with as much truth and backed up information, with as much guided intuition, because books can't always tell you what's actually going on in your body, and you have to feel what's going on sometimes. You were meant to catch the flu. As a Native American in my past lives, I always knew this growing up. So when I started seeing people basically flocking to taking the flu virus for this and that, I'm sitting there scratching my head like, this reaction is wrong. I feel it in my heart and my soul, and this reaction is unjustified. It's unwarranted. It's unwarranted. Why are you all freaking out and making a big deal over nothing? Over something which y'all don't even understand? You're basically relying on public officials and scientists who are basically pumping your body full of vaccines which are of an unknown origin. Basically, it's using a form of aqueous mercury, which is coating, obfuscating your nerves, and it's stopping and preventing many of you from feeling. That's why a lot of you can't feel into these things, because your nerves are coated over with a salt form of mercury. A salt form of a heavy metal, which has been basically pushed onto us by the Illuminati as a foundation groundwork from early ages. That's how it always has been. I haven't taken a vaccine since, I think, was it 2013, 2008? I just stopped. I just said no. I'm not even like say anything about it. I just said, just avoid the date. Just avoid the date. Just don't show up. That's why I think so clearly. That's why I feel so clearly. That's why when anything goes on in my environment, I can feel it. I know what's happening. And that's why a lot of you, especially guys out there, can't feel what's going on with your partners emotionally. You guys are kind of shut off. Especially if you've taken the virus. It's nothing to worry about. It's just how it is. It's how things are. It's how you are. It can be cleared over time. The best thing is just not take it to begin with, because your body doesn't need it. What your body needs is a healthy and happy perception of who you are. Native Americans, we did not avoid dirt. We did not avoid dangerous and dirty situations. That is not going to make you sick. That's actually going to improve your immune system. The dirt that's in your environment, the dirt under your fingernails, the things that you touch, the things that you lick, the things that fall on the ground. Your skin is one of the most hostile places. It's one of the most hostile environments to bacteria, because it is made up of metal oxides. Copper mainly, iron as well. When any bacteria lands upon it and your skin is dry, it only has about a few minutes before it dies. Nothing lives on your skin. You don't have to avoid being dirty, being in nature. You don't have to avoid flus, the flu virus, the vaccines, the colds. The common cold is just, it's a way of moving mucus and getting moving energy around the body. And that's why it feels so weird, is because for a lot of you it's moving up heavy mucus, a lot of flow, a lot of chemicals, compounds. And it's flushing that out for you through your nose, through your system, through your sweat, through your waste passages. You can believe what you may, but I would ask that you listen to the people who have your best intentions at heart. and not to some political agenda which is basically doing it for the sake of money or public votes or for fame or notoriety. Because you don't need those. You don't need those guiding your life. Having a negative newscaster in your ear shouting constantly, this is what's bad in the world. This is the next war on terror, war on this, war on that. Look at the bad things that are going on over here. Look at the bad things that are going on over here. None of the positive stuff, if you would notice. Now look, here's a dude. Look at this great charity organization. Look at this new school that was built. Look at this football field. Look at this great sporting event. Look at all these kids getting together, riding all these electric bikes and shit and stuff, and just look at this community project that we just started. That just happened in your own community, and not. That's why. Not basically all the public shootings and all the freaking prison outbreaks or whatever. Like the newscast making TV, that WNGTV, whatever it was called around here. These guys were good for nothing but making look bad. Making our town and city look bad. So I was very glad that when they... I'm sorry to say this, Mr. Escher, but I'm glad when your news station shut down. Because that removed a lot of negativity for our communities. For our community. Because you guys were not doing us justice or right. It's just a habit that newscasters have of just basically highlighting the most juicy and dramatic parts and putting out like just as like, ha, now we've did our job and we go home for the day, and now the public has left with all this like negativity and all this news, and like, what do you do with it? The newscasters, you walk home, they've done their job today and they go and fuck off. What are we supposed to do with it, guys? All this worry, all this guilt, all this like trouble and like nonsensical information. So when the next flu virus comes out, and it is a periodic, it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's going to happen again. Please don't lose your heads about this. That's all I ask you. Ask a physician what you need to do next. Don't listen to your public guided agendas. They do not have your best interests at heart. I'm sorry. Our public officials, we have so many leaders in power who are not using their power responsibly, and who are not in integrity. Whether that is conscious, purposefully or not, we have a duty to ourselves to give ourselves the best lifestyle possible. And you can't do that while there's some guy yapping in your ear telling you what's bad about the world. So I hope that helps a lot of you. And to your engineers and to those companies, please change the plastics. To our newscasters, to our news stations, to our news anchors, you guys have a duty and responsibility to tell the whole truth, accurately, representatively, the whole complete spectrum of the picture, the positives as well as the negatives, the positives as well, so you can give people a sense of hope, a sense of direction in which to go upon, so there's not no hope. Because the way we basically made it sound was COVID was a deadly virus, an unknown. And there was a scenario that I was... Imagine if you walked into a clinic. This is basically what our news stations are doing to us. Imagine you walk into a clinic, you have a bump on your arm. You go up to the doctor, and the doctor takes a look, and he says, "Oh, we've seen this before. There's nothing to worry about. This is no problem. We've seen this thousands of times." And he said the symptoms, and like, you just take a seat, just thought, so okay, you have nothing to worry about. The symptoms are mild. You have nothing to worry about. It's going to be okay. You have it gives you it puts your body at ease. You're not in dis-ease. You're not simply thinking ill thoughts towards yourself or that something's going to happen. Because you can literally give yourself hive or cancer just by thinking or feeling that anything. Like, if you just think that, oh my god, like, I'm going to get like freaking like I'm gonna get testicular cancer because I masturbate too much or something. And if you worry and you stress about like that, or you worry that anything like in your life, like you just have some just unnatural fear or worry, you're constantly you're punishing your body with it. You'll break out in hives, you'll break out in cancer, you'll start making malignant growths on your body, simply because your body is just responding to your energy. You're pumping out hormones and chemicals without you realizing it. So stop it. Don't do that. I know that's easier said than done. When you're afraid, you're afraid. And someone telling you don't be afraid, it helps, but it doesn't make the fears go away completely. But I hope that this does. I hope that this provides some common sense, some realization, some perception, some understanding towards all of you. Because we need this. Our public needs this. We need to stop fearing these common sense, these nature things. These common pathways, it's these nature cycles, which our ancestors never feared. And 20 years ago, we didn't really even fear it that back then very much either, until the advent of the internet. Until news stations and news corporations started getting really big, and negative news was like the main thing. It was just the flu back then. Oh, you got the flu. Big deal. Basically. Here's some aspirin. Here's some water. Here's some ibuprofen for the fever. Your body's fever, that's a response to you rewriting your DNA. It's your body's... With COVID, there wasn't a lot of fever with a lot of you all. It was basically rewriting. As if you felt into that, it was just a gentle shifting about of perception, of a gravitation to what your body needs next in life. That's all it was. And by not telling the truth, we freaked a lot of people out. By not telling things accurately, representatively, truthfully, hopefully. If the human body can be exposed to some of the most grotesque and some of the most insanitary conditions, if you can literally have a guy that goes down and visits and stays, who basically goes down in a sewer, in a septic tank, and then covers himself in shit, and aged old shit, and comes out okay, week after week, because it's literally like his hobby. And I've had situations too before where I was covered in things that which I don't want to mention, of things that were very, very unsanitary. And I could feel in the moment that when I had covered it, even over open sores and everything else that I had with my arm, it wasn't like this a few years ago for me. I would break out in inflammation as well, but just I could feel, instead of freaking out that one time, when I had my arms covered in basically human poo, don't ask me, it's basically because I was living alone. I was basically feeding the fruit trees. Yeah, that's basically doing the responsible thing. Basically, what we all should be doing. I could feel that how I postured my emotions, my perceptions within my body, was basically causing my cells, my chemical reaction to focus, to basically overdrive to this place in a negative way. That I would literally break out in inflammation had I continued down that path. But I said, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. I could feel what was going on. I could feel my cells just racing, rushing to everything in a panic. I'm like, whoa. There's no need to panic. It's on me. It's on my sores. And I could feel that, just to react, that relaxation, that pull away from everything. And it's just... You have human beings who live in the most disgusting of situations every day, and they are completely fine. Because they smile and they don't worry about the little details of life. They don't have time to worry about these things. They don't have the liberty to worry about, oh, I'm too dirty about, well, I gotta look nice, presentable, or some societal condition, like, oh, if I'm too dirty, I'm disgusting, or whatever. The human body is not disgusting, you guys. Our bodies are perfect. There's nothing... And again, that has to do with basically the foundation and root teaching of basically what the Illuminati had taught us, had force-fed to us, having to wash our hands basically after everything, the pushing on of soap, the agenda of basically over cleanliness, isolating ourselves from our environment, making ourselves almost so unhealthy to the point from lack of sun exposure, lack of dirt exposure, lack of bacteria, lack of your body just, it leaves a generation, not a population, not as strong. And that's why when you go to any indigenous tribe, you look at them, they're so healthy. Any African tribe, they are so healthy. Their bodies are so strong, their immune systems are so robust. You can't make these people sick very easily. Their bodies don't succumb to sickness very well because they don't think along those, they don't bring their mind down. They're not immersed in negative news 24/7. They don't bring their energy down. They're focused upon life. They're constantly going. Caretakers are the same way. Caretakers can be immersed in the most hostile situations biologically, chemically, and they are fine because they have a duty of care. They have an energy of, I've come here for you. I'm here for you, and I want to make sure this body stays. And I can't do that if I'm sick, and that your body responds to that. I gotta keep going. Fuck you, bacteria. Fuck you, virus. I'm only gonna let you have so much effect. And that's basically how almost all sickness has been for me for the past several years. I've been very little sick since the start, I almost want to say 2013, but that's too long ago. Since the start of COVID. Since I really started going into this energy work really hard. I started feeling into situations instead of listening to basically what we were being told. Because there's what sounds good and there's what's actually true. And you have to learn to discern the difference. You have to learn to discern the difference. And the only way you can do that is by practicing your emotions. Is by realizing that you are a soul, you deserve to be happy, and that your energies are structured around you smiling, your happiness. It is basically the energy of everything that you are. Your joy, your expression, your life, your love, your fulfillment. But mostly your happy smile and your love for this life. Your appreciation, your joy, your gratitude for this. I love this. I appreciate this. Thank you. Without this, I can't experience anything around me. You're just a soul without this body, and you have very little influence on your world to do anything, to make much action or anything possible happen. So you take care of this body well, feed it well. Body, mind, and soul, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Good sights, good foods, good sounds, good people, good sights, good smells. Good hopes, good dreams, because your body listens and responds to all of that. Even if you're not aware of it, just feel into it. You can just feel it. And the time it takes for a smile to cross the room, you can feel how a smile helps your body. How it helps you to be well. Your smile, the radiance of your soul helps to push your body towards a state of continual balance. Continual balance. Your body is meant to exist in a state of health. It is not random chance that it is not by random chance that it does. It is guided intelligence, and by those angels around you when you smile, they are allowed to basically join hands with you to help heal your body. And I hope to bring a lot more angel talks into this, because the public perception needs to change, needs to embrace, to accept these ideals. It needs to change how we perceive and perceive the world. Because the way we're doing it right now is it's very unconscious, it's very reactionary, it's very unmindful. And a lot of us are simply repeating information of what we have been told and not what we have gained ourselves or learned ourselves. So please know the difference in that. Please trust the wisdom of your elders, of the ancients, of the indigenous, who really knew and understood these things at a root level. They knew these things. They knew how nature worked. They knew the cycles and flows of harmony. Basically, a lot of the ways that we're living right now, the way we're eating, the way we're treating our foods, the way we're treating our people, social media, the way we leave a like and just leave and not pay enough attention to one another, that needs to change. The lack of interest in our lives. So, yeah, I feel that helps some of you. I feel that helps a lot of you. That whole not touching your face thing, that's such a nonsense. Oh, God. Who pushed who? I want to find who coined that term and punch them in the face. Bro, you literally have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm so sorry for that. But you hurt a lot of people by doing so. And I hope that by me being a voice, it helps reverse some of this, helps to counteract some of this. So when the next flu virus hits, when it comes around, because it's got to, it needs to, unless we all pay attention and tune in with harmony with our bodies and what we're doing with our daily lives, and we're living in tune with harmony in nature, please don't freak out about it next time. Don't freak out about things in general. Don't give yourself to worry or fear ever. There's nothing ever to really worry or fear about in this life. Worry and fear is reactionary. It's based on past lives and subconscious experience built up in the collection of it's held within the information, the DNA of your cells. That's why a lot of you are subconsciously reacting to past habits and unable to break cycles. And okay, so please do your own informed, guided research in everything in life. Go with what feels right, not with what sounds bad, not with what sounds good. If there's a difference between that sounds good and this is what resonates. This is what resonates. This feels right. This makes sense. Not the common public topic of the day. All right. Please take care of yourselves. Please smile and be happy. You have people that care about you really and truly more than you ever know, even understand. You have healers out there who very much care about your world, because you're all children, we're all interconnected. Your health matters just as much. Your health matters to me, because when you are unwell, I am unwell also. I feel it deeply within my being that there are people unwell, unhappy in the world. So please treat yourselves well in body, mind, spirit, and soul. And to recognize that you are a soul, and to love yourself, to love your experience enough to not subject yourself to negative experiences on purpose. To isolate, to distance yourself from negative people, negative news, negative media, negative foods, refined flours, almond flour, coconut flour, rice flour, basically is all spent media, which has been used to make milk. After the milk has all been taken away, do not eat that stuff, because it's just a macronutrient and it's kind of harmful for your body. It clogs you up. Your body doesn't really know how to handle it, and your body treats it as a waste product. Your body treats it as waste. As well as some calories, there's some nutrients, and there's minerals which your body uses and stuff, yes, but on the whole, there's a lot of things that are wrong with our community and the way that we do and the way that we treat things. So please take care of yourselves, smile on, and love yourselves enough to know the difference. To feel into situations and not just to listen to what the public common mantra is of the day.